morning. How's everybody doing out there? It's we're a minute early, so let's give our boy some time. Lance, he texted me he was chasing cows around. He had a cow break loose out there on his Tampa farm. So crazy shit happening this morning. It's not just in the stock market. We're getting a little bit of a relief rally in the future so far, but we'll see if it holds up. The cash open is always crucial. What happens when you have a big futures move before a stock market's been open?
Oh, no, I can't hear.
Hey, Lance, what's up? I was just telling these guys something about the futures. So when the cash market opens, the way it works is the futures say that the S&P 500 should be up 1% or whatever, but the S&P 500 is 500 stocks that all have their own separate price discovery, right? So there's these guys called arbitrageurs that sit out there and they go, all right, I see the S&P in real time has only indicated that it's going to be up 0.5%, but the future's up 1%. So they'll short the futures, buy the stocks. But sometimes the stocks are still so for sale that the futures are totally incorrect, and then they just smash them. So that's why you got to wait for cash open at least first half hour to see what's up. Anyways, what's up, Lance? How are you?
Got my oatmeal, was chasing cows all morning. So it's been a little bit of a rough morning.
It's better than chasing the dragon like I did all weekend. You could hear it in my voice.
Well, I never mind. Well, you were up in Nueve.
I was in my old stomping grounds, the city, NYC.
Where did you go in New York specifically?
I was in the West Village for a meeting, for a nice dinner, nice Italian dinner, and then I was in Midtown.
Italian?
Yeah.
Do y'all know do the people in the chat know Fausto?
I don't know. I mean,
maybe some people do.
So.
We were in Vegas with him.
It's a good dude. It's a good dude. I was up there. Yeah, Fausto. I wasn't up there in particular. I was up there. I had a party.
Oh yeah, you had stuff going on, but you ran into him, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see him. So it was a lot of fun, but it was so damn cold. It was so damn cold. People were like, I was looking at people and I was like, how do you live like this? Like, how do you know that, like, the South, like the Sun Belt exists and you can work from anywhere and the internet works?
Bro, it's so hot over here. It's miserable to go outside during the day now already.
Dude, try walking around Midtown Manhattan at like 1 o'clock in the morning with 15-degree temperature and 30-mile-an-hour winds. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter. The wind goes straight through
it. Nope. This girl was sending me pictures of her back in Wisconsin, or her like family's lodge.
Yeah.
You can't move. Like the cars, bro, the cars all snow. I'm like, so what do? You can't leave the house. Like, play board games. I'm like, if I was playing board games for a week, I'd pull my hair out. I go crazy.
You know what's funny about the city is the coldest nights are the nights where the bars are the most packed. Like the streets are empty, but you walk into like a restaurant or a bar, and it's like shoulder to shoulder packed on the coldest nights. Something about it like makes people just like, let's go let's go out and get drunk. It's going to be extreme. It's an extreme sport. So pretty funny.
Can't blame them.
Nah, it's all good.
You know what I was drinking last night?
What's that?
You're gonna laugh at this. A cognac. You know what cognac?
Louis.
No. Oh, I wish.
I had Louis this weekend, bro.
You had really? Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, one of my best friends, his daughter had a bat mitzvah. That's why I flew up there. And he had his grandfather gave him a bottle at his bar mitzvah 30 years ago. 30-something years ago. And he's like, you open this for your kids. And so he opened it and he had like all his best friends and his family drinking it with him. It was pretty honest. I was already tanked, so I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh, no.
Put me into orbit.
That's like $275 a half shot. You're looking at basically $500.
It's $4,000 for a bottle, $5,000, something like that. Something to that effect.
I think at Costco it's $3,500 or $4,500.
They have it at Costco, huh? Costco reports this week.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Costco's been planned. I go there probably once a week or every other week. They actually have good liquor. I had Henny.
And
Henny. I
did you
used to
smoke a
always,
black and mild with that? You smoke a black and mild with
and
the
you know,
Henny?
I went to a very I went to an F high school, Chamberlain. It was a D and F. So after high school, I always had a bottle of Henny for when my my hoodlums came over. Put it that way. You got to have the bottle of Henny. But yeah, I had some Henny and I was like, man, this is too much. Like you can't drink Henny. You sip it and it's
I think Louis is probably the opposite experience of Henny. Louis is like ultra smooth, right? Henny lights your fire, gives you a little bit of fire, right? There's like a velvetyness to the Louis that like um engulfs your entire mouth and your throat, like a
when
velvet
you
glove.
drink Louis, it's like drinking candy. Like think
Right.
of like a Jolly Rancher, Starburst, all
That's
mint.
right. But the consistency of it too, like something happens to the actual like liquid format of it, where it's almost like drinking like Robitussin without the bad flavor.
Hold
It's just
on. I got something for you. Hold on. Not for you. For me.
Don is like Jeff has had too much Louis. You know, yeah. Now it's so I always fast for Lent. Oh hell yeah, that's awesome. So I fast for Lent, but I knew this party was going to happen, so today. Yesterday was my official start of Lent. So I'm going strong until Easter.
So this is a hand blown and France hand blown glass. These
Nice.
go for around like 300 or 400 on eBay.
Really?
Yep, Louis the 13th, a Grand Champagne cognac.
so what? Any good news stories happen over the? I mean, like what's going on? I was kind of out of the loop a little bit. I
Nothing.
mean,
That's why the market's bid, I think.
market was a little shitty last week for lack of a better word. I think
Oh,
worst
dude.
week of the like everything got sold. There was nowhere to hide, right?
Dude, shitty is not even. I lost so much money last week. It
On
was
what?
on what? On everything.
Yeah, I
I
know.
was
I'm not
up.
saying it like that. I'm just saying like what? What? Give us some specifics.
Well, so I bought Hubstock calls pre-earnings. They were like
Yeah.
$15 each, and I sold them at like $54. So I
Wow.
made like $6,000 on like a 3 lot, right?
Right.
So the week prior, I was coming in all hot, right? And then I just kept buying calls, and I kept adding to calls all
Yeah.
last week. Today I should get paid a little bit because I have
Yeah.
like 200 lot of American airline calls.
Oh, nice.
What else do I have? I have some NVIDIA puts that will be down, but I have some
So how
tape.
about that NVIDIA call last week that we were talking about? That was kind of interesting. It
Dude,
ended up those $2 225s ended up trading at like 14 at some point.
dude, that was a monster move in
But
NVIDIA.
we saw that we did identify that as a potential reaction. We were like, it's not going to move 4%. It's going to move. It could move 15%. It could move 17%. So that's why
You
that's a
want
good exercise to try to figure out like what potentially can happen, what's a possibility, what's a probability, and what's a possibility. Those are two different things. But what do we got this week? We've got like let's start out looking at some of these economic things. The economic numbers matter, right? Like a lot of those numbers. What do we have? PCE last week put everybody into a debt spiral because inflation is still there, right?
Yep. By the way, we remember on NVIDIA the keyword AI. They said AI 75 times on the
That was
top.
another thing that we pointed out. Like we nailed spot on. You asked me directly, like, what's going to
AI.
matter? I'm going to be like, how much they talk about how awesome they are at AI, and that's all they said.
All it is, their CEO knows how to move.
I think I should be a CFO for a Fortune 500 company at this point. It'd be a boring job, but I think I know exactly what I would say to the street every single time I went out there. It's a dog and pony show, in case you guys don't know it out there.
Hey
Play the game. Yeah.
Jeff, Bob L in the chat says, wait, Lance is bragging about how much money he lost last week, and we're supposed to be following him. I mean, I really trade. All your other gurus who don't put their money where their mouth is, who say all they have is winners. No, when I send out bad trades and y'all lose money, my ass loses a lot more money usually. So
Well, we like to talk. I mean, I
I
trade
mean,
all.
I'm just trying to be as transparent as
That's
possible.
why I think that's why I think that's why I think that's why we work together a lot, right? Why do we have a show? Why do we have a show together that everybody watches? honestly, like, I don't want to like, you know, I
Yeah.
don't want to pat you on the back or me on the back, but all y'all that are here today, I think this is the most watched, attended show we have in the ecosystem. I might be talking incorrectly, but I think, and it's a short sample size, but I think this is why you
Oh
guys
yeah.
all show up, because Lance talks reality and so do I.
Could you imagine if Kramer said, "Hey, I lost a lot of money last week"? No, he gives the worst stock picks, and then just says, keep buying,"
Right.
and there's
Well,
no accountability.
there are people that are more interested in being right than making money and sounding right. And that's just a shitty, that's like, so we try to teach you how to like divorce yourself from that ego aspect as a good trader anyways. You have to kind of get rid of that attitude because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your P&L.
That's it.
The only thing that
That's
matters
it.
is your P&L. And
You
so
could
you're
have
going
a
to have losers.
99% win rate, and then the one time you lose your whole account and more.
Well, here's another thing. Here's another thing. If you can't handle losses, small losses
You're
happening
gonna
to
be
you all the
gone.
time, this is not for you. Find something else to do.
Yeah.
This ain't for you. Because this is what it is. This is what it is. I used to trade like, you gotta understand something. I used to trade individually. My account was like 75% of some of the largest ETFs in the world. And I also had another book at this hedge fund that I was at that was called I would do secondaries and IPOs all over the world, not just US ones. So I would take part in like Dutch auctions and weird ass shit. And sometimes part of that game is like Goldman or Merrill, like my brokers at those places, they would just dump this dog shit stock on me that I knew was going to be a pig. And I was like, that's part of the game too, right? Because
Oh yeah. Oh
then
yeah.
when a good one comes, they give you a good allocation of it and you make a ton of money. And they know when the good ones are coming. But I would sit there and I'd be like, I know I have to take the L. I know I'm gonna get, you know what? You guys are taking me out to the back shed. I know that's gonna happen, but at least send me some chocolates and flowers.
At
Part of
least
the
let me feel
game.
good
Part of
on
the
the
game.
play.
Part of the game.
Yeah.
So let's look what happened last week. We had this PCE came in like super hot, right? They were expecting 3.9% and they got 4.3%. Super hot.
Yeah.
Like this is supposed to be going down if Jay Powell's thing is
Well,
working, right?
they did admit over the weekend that we'll never go back to 2% inflation, and then all the ex-Fed heads said there's no soft landing. Remember the whole narrative,
Yeah,
transitory
yeah,
inflation? They said that was just BS.
yeah.
There was some news out over the weekend that, hey, yeah, it is out of control, and then these numbers, from last week basically prove that there is no
They don't have a
inflation.
plan. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're winging it, right? They hope it works. It might not work. It's not like, firefighters showing up at your house and they know that they can either put some fires out or they can't. They know what's possible. These guys are like showing up at this fire and they don't even have like they have like these like the little like ones you have in the kitchen, the little things that
Oh
they're
yeah,
trying
the little fire extinguishers. They're coming
yeah,
with
and you got like
little water
and you
guns.
got half of the forest is on fire. You got like the redwoods burning down and they're showing up like this.
Yeah.
And they
So
set it on fire.
so Jeff, someone mentions, and this is actually interesting because they came out. Was it Germany?
Yeah.
Tesla. They have Investor Day upcoming here.
Oh,
And
nice.
what is it? March? Was it March 3rd? Investor Day. Wednesday.
Yeah.
A new low entry EV car for 25,000. What? They
I
would
mean, it's gonna
basically.
be they're that's why I've been shorting like Lucid and Rivian and like almost every one of my programs for a while. Because I think a lot of these guys are gonna get put out by Tesla.
Well,
They're already losing it. Like those other companies lose a lot of money because they can't produce, they don't have the manufacturing capabilities, right? Their margins are terrible. So I think they're literally like that's their whole strategy right now is putting everybody out.
pull up Lucid because they came out last week and said obviously bad earnings, but they said demand for our vehicles is slow. And it's like, no shit. You have $150,000 car.
These guys are a zero. These guys are
And
a zero.
you see that
Unless
that's
they get bought. Unless they get bought for
they
pennies on.
won't. That was so I got caught up. They were loading up on puts, and then they had the rumor with the Saudis buying it out. That's when it had that big spike and the stock got halted a few times.
Yeah.
I got caught in it. Obviously, I should have held my puts, but yeah, that was the last kind of pump job in Lucid. I think the
These
stock.
guys are still worth $15 billion as a company, as a market cap. Their value is 15 billion with a B dollars, right?
And how many vehicles have they delivered? Probably 5,000.
I'm looking at how much they make. So if we look at like in 2020, these are their sales. 600 million in sales last year. They had a $15 billion market cap on that. They're hoping to sell 1.7 billion this year.
Yeah,
worldwide.
right.
Yeah, right.
Who's going to pay 150 grand for a car? I just got my mom a Tesla, actually. Here's a little ticker. It came in yesterday. And you know how much it costs?
How
57.
much?
For a nice SUV, 57.
So think about, geez.
Total price.
Yeah, that's good. That's nice.
You could buy 3 Tesla Model Y SUV with a 3rd row seat or 1 Lucid car.
Look at this, dude. Ford. So I just showed you Lucid in 2022 had 500 million, $600 million in sales, and they're $15 billion company. Ford had 149 billion last year, right? What's Ford's market cap? 47 billion. So they had 30 times the amount of sales, and they're only worth 3 times the amount in value as Lucid. Lucid's a zero. Something's broken in that. Something's totally broken in that. I'm sorry. I'm not really fundamental, but I like to think about that stuff sometimes. Just
look at that. Lisa said Lucid delivered 4,369 cars.
I mean, that's not
it.
That's a startup at a $15 billion valuation, Lance.
And 125 in 2021. Think about, so let's say you're one of the 5,000 people who own the car.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to charge it. That was the big news over the weekend too, or last week, was all the EV chargers. Because Tesla's letting the supercharger do other vehicles. You can't charge. Let's say you spend 150 on the new Hummer. You can't charge it anywhere. It's going to take you 8 hours to charge it at the mall or whatever.
That's why Tesla deserves their valuation, with all due respect. They have patent on everything important in EV.
Cybertruck, Starlink, crazy ass Musk.
That's why they deserve. That's why they deserve a premium for being the first and the best and the ones that own all the technology, right? That's why it's a technology play more than a car company.
It is.
Lucid is still a car company. Lucid doesn't have any of those patents. So that's why I would never I'm not going to compare Ford and Tesla, because Tesla's entire technology thing. But if you're comparing apples to apples, Lucid and Ford is a better one. And Lucid is on its way to zero.
Do you think there's anything you could short right now? Or you think shorting is still just a risky mess? Because I know
that was a stock that I showed you, that stock in particular, because I think if that stock pops back up to 9.5 this week or something, close to 10, you could buy some puts there. I don't want to short it today. I think let's look at macro. Let's look at the big picture. You want to look at the NDX for a second? Let's look at the Nasdaq.
Nasdaq's leading,
right? So I always like to think about all right, how much should a bounce be worth off this sell-off, right? So we were up here, when everybody was let's go back to the club and order ace of spades back at the beginning of February. We were close to 13,000, right?
Yeah, I remember talking to Jeff and he goes, dude, I feel rich. And I go, I feel rich too. All my DraftKings was up over $20, all that stuff.
Well, I thought to myself, everyone's starting to feel that again. And the Fed doesn't want you to feel that way. The Fed doesn't want you to feel okay, this is okay. I might have a shot at this. This might be all right. And I'm talking about the long-term positions, just your investment holdings and stuff like that, not trading accounts. And so I'm looking at the Fed. I'm thinking these guys don't want people walking around feeling like they can splash the pot and take a $15,000, Caribbean vacation to St. Thomas for 3 days with the family. They don't want people like me getting those crazy ideas in their head. They want people on defense. They want people feeling poor. They want people out of work. They want people desperate.
They do.
They just do. So what I'm trying to say is, so we had this big sell-off, right? What was it, 8%, something to that effect?
It felt a lot bigger.
Felt a lot bigger because it was a lot bigger in certain names, right?
In individual stocks, yeah.
But let's say we bounce here. Let's say this week we bounce, and particularly to start March, by the end of the week. For me, I would expect the bounce to be back to the top of this channel here that was at the beginning, which would be around 12,450, give or take 4.5% as a rebound move. That would be a lower high. but I would expect that to be the type of bounce we'd have in the broader index.
That's a big move, 4%. We're up about 1% this morning.
I'm saying by the end of the week.
That's huge. That's huge.
It's possible. It wouldn't take us back to highs.
Well,
We'd still be 4% off the highs. It would be halfway back. And it would
You
be
gotta-
that it would be this spot here that got us so excited at the beginning of February to begin with.
you got to figure too, everyone got short last week. So the market keeps going up, those shorts got to unwind.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that being said, we have to see this open today. We have to see if it doesn't, fail.
Okay.
There's still a lot of retail earnings this week. We'll get into a couple of those in a second. But do we have any big economic numbers that might impact us this week? I got sidetracked. I wanted to figure that out.
Let me look here. So someone posted earnings.
PMI is tomorrow. That's not that big. Construction's kind of cool. Everybody's trying to see if the construction index is slowing down. ISM is very important on
When's
Wednesday.
that? Wednesday.
Yeah, 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Initial claims numbers, it's the weekly numbers. The jobs numbers matter. The big job number is next week. That's the monthly jobs. This is a weekly jobs. Kind of a slow data week. Not too crazy. ISM is going to matter the most this week, I think. That's the one to pay attention to, this one. So, because that's like a separate, these people are like a separate, the ISM people, they have a survey that they send manufacturers, which is actually more believable than the federal government's.
Yeah. I don't believe any of the real economic numbers anymore.
It's sad. I saw a political poll that said that more than 50% of Americans don't believe anything the government says. Anything. They don't believe anything the government says. That's a big problem, amigo.
Dude, I was talking to I have a neighbor who's in the sheriff's office, and he was telling me how the mayor and the politicians lie so much on crime. Like they keep it all under wraps, especially Tampa, because the influx of money coming to Tampa and the New Yorkers and everyone in real estate. He's like, all they do is change codes. So our crime looks to be going down. He's like, really, dude, it's real bad. And I'm like,
that's why the jobs number is such a cookbook too. Yeah. People stop working, they go on the government tote, they don't get counted into that thing. So we have 3.5% unemployment on about 2 million less people. So it's really like 10% higher.
We have I'm looking if you want to pull up the earnings calendar.
It's
in the trending thread.
Right.
Because I am looking at some earnings here.
Yeah. Give me some names. But I think we've got OXY, one of my favorites. They're coming today.
OXY's after the close today.
Mm-hmm.
What is Warren? Did he buy any more OXY or is he just holding? Because
he hasn't really added to it, which was
it
kind
hasn't
of
been doing
last
shit.
But he's big time. He's big time. He is big time.
Pull up OXY, the chart.
Hold on a second. Sorry. We got a lot of retail names too, don't we?
Yeah, like Costco. You got Target. I actually like.
I see Zoom. I see Target. I see AMC, Ross Stores. We have Snow this week. We have Macy's, Costco, Best Buy. Huh?
Lowe's for all the
Lowe's. Home Depot had a crap number, so maybe we can extrapolate that. We can watch that. All right, let me go.
You got Portillo's for all the Chicago Italian sausage people. One of my favorites. Thursday.
There we go. All right. So what's the first stop we want to look at?
Let's look
at today. Zoom. Zoom is today. Do you want to trade a crack stock?
Dude,
Let's look at OXY. OXY is one of my favorites. Let's look at it. All right. So OXY. We're looking at the weeklies again, right?
Yeah. It shouldn't be a big move.
Huh?
It shouldn't be a big implied move.
It's not a big implied move. It's like a 3% implied move.
Good.
But look at the daily chart. Look at this chart. And so keep in mind that we're at the bottom end of this range, and Warren has been a buyer. Uncle Warren has been a buyer from like 60, 62, 63, all the way up to like 70.
75.
That's where they showed his prints going off. So
do you think if they report bad numbers, he dumps?
Well, I love this. No, he's not dumping at all because this is a long term. Like he doesn't trade stocks based on one quarter's earnings at all. He's trading the stock for the next 5-6 years.
Well,
And
but
so
what was his quick position? TSM, where he lost his ass? Taiwan Semiconductor?
yeah, yeah, but that's different. That had such a massive fundamental change with Taiwan being such a high risk and the US looking to displace Taiwan. They had a fundamental case. But anyways, I like this stock from a call perspective because I look at your downside as like this $5 lower, and I look at the upside in the mid 70s here. So you're risking like $3 to $5 to try to make 10 to 15 on the stock, not on whatever options are
Right, not
different.
on the
So
options.
I think if the stock has an awesome number and we get a slightly bullish week in the oil, this stock can easily trade back above 65 here. So if I'm
In
looking
the
at
60 calls or a buck
yeah,
30.
yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna do the inverse.
really,
I'm gonna say OXY.
you like Oxy puts at $2.
I actually like the 58 puts at a buck 25. I think a lot of people are so long OXY that if numbers aren't great, you're gonna see the stock sell off 5-6%.
Fair.
And then you might get a move to the upside. But I think the initial earnings reaction is gonna be down. And then people are going to say, oh no, is Warren selling? Because you got to figure a lot of people own OXY just because of Buffett. Buffett bought it.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of we had a real shitty week in oil for the last 2 weeks. I think
Really
oil
bad.
rebound. We're at the low end of the oil. Oil trades mean reverting. Oil's not very trending. It trends like once every 4 years. In the meantime, it trades in ranges. It goes back and forth like this from the ranges. We're at the bottom of the range. I like it from the long side, from my in the intermediate for that reason. And the broader market matters a lot this week, right? Like all these earnings hammer times that we had last week, they were in a really bearish tape, right? So I expect the tape to be a little more bullish this week. I expect, ties to go to the bulls again. Let's look at a tech stock or something. Give me a crack stock.
I should say this. I am long some BTU, some coal.
Okay.
Yeah, the weeklies, like a true degenerate. I like them though. They bought a lot of calls in BTU. It had
Which calls are you looking at?
weekly 26.5.
Weekly 26.5.
Oh yeah, BTU.
They have
That's
earnings?
it moves, it can squeeze.
Yeah, if we look at the chart on this thing,
It's not horrible.
it's not. But
I like it
look,
here.
do you see what I mean by how it's
Yeah.
mean reverting? Look at the trend. There's no trend here. This thing is just going. This looks like my pulse.
It's true. It's true. But for a tech stock, oh man.
Yeah. Let's do one more stock before the week. You want to look at snow? Snow's a fun.
Yeah, snow. Do snow.
Because that's at the end of the week. That's Wednesday. That's in the middle of the week. So snow's interesting because snow is one of the darlings of 2021, right? This was a darling stock. People love this stock. This was like a $400 stock at one point, if we go back really far. And started rallying, got up to what did it get up to? Almost 180. And now it's off nearly 20%. I think if it has good earnings, it's kind of like one of these cases like NVIDIA. If it printed there, it could trade there.
A lot of those kind of high growth Kathy Wood stocks like Roblox and all those, they had that huge move to the upside, and then they gave back almost all the gain just last week.
Well, look at this: 155 puts trading around calls trading around $5. I mean, that's expensive, but you don't like to pay $5 for whatever.
No. And that's the problem with snow is that it's same with Zoom, and that's why I'm just.
That's a 3% move in a software stock that moves with Kathy.
Right.
That's not crazy.
No, it's not. I'm just not a fan of the expensive options. That's it. It's just more of a personal thing than anything else.
I got you. But yeah, like I said, there's an outside shot that this thing could trade in the mid 170s again. So let's say you go really out of the money and do like super small size. Like one lot, two lot, whatever.
One lot, two lot. That's all. I mean, that's all I want to risk. Usually I try not to risk more than like $500 for earnings.
Yeah, I'd rather buy one of the 155s. You're not really getting much cheaper to go out $10 higher.
Right.
Anyways.
Right. I gotta run. I got a lot.
Yeah. Thank you all. Another awesome day. Let's have a great week, guys. Let's see what we got. Oh, drop the link for me before we go. I need to share this link. I've got a thing at 1 o'clock. I have a big trade setting up tomorrow. I do these index rebalances, Lance. MSCI is tomorrow. And I'm doing a training on that with a program that I have for people that don't know it. And I'm going to have another rebalance coming up in March too for the S&P 500. But tomorrow's the MSCI. There's like 7 or 8. There's 7 big moves happening in U.S. names alone. So watch my thing tomorrow if you want to learn something. LFG guys, have a great week. Sign up at the link that Sean just added.
Stock just got a bit. All right, I will see it. Here's me getting distracted.
Keep this room open so people can sign up for this thing. There we go.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
Oh, Dickens is sharing it. Yeah, perfect. All right, Lance. Have a great week. Thank you guys all for watching us once again. Take it easy.
Oh yeah, appreciate it. I'm selling some meta here.
Keep those cows in check, bro. Let's go.
Always. I sold some meta. Oh, I got that one open.